Well, here we are. Another Monday. What does that mean? It means Middle Management Monday. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name's Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'm going to be telling you all about the joys and all the fun times that you can have as a middle manager. Ooh, isn't that awesome? But I just like the way that sounds. Middle Management Monday. It's easy to remember. And there's a bunch of middle managers out there that maybe they're new or they've never done it before, or maybe they're seasoned and they're looking for some type of hints from another middle manager. Well, I plan on giving one hint per day, something that you can actually do, and I will tell you how to do it. And then over my plan is to have my middle management Mondays. Every episode will have one little thing on how to be a better middle manager. So the last show that I did was about please and thank you. Woo, who would have thought that that's a thing? But yeah, please and thank you is important to get by in the world. So what is it going to be today? Today will be all right, we're going to do it's a big one. Clear your throat. All right, we're going to do standard operating procedures, SOPs. What are SOPs? I already said standard operating procedures. Now, in the airline business, I used to be the chief flight instructor of a flying club. And I used to also be chief pilot for their charter operations. Did some other lots of airplane-y kind of stuff. And so the way it works in aviation, for any airline that you have out there, they all have standard operating procedures. They'll have that in the military, they have that in the civilian world, they have that, a lot of places where it's just made very clear to employees, management, anybody. Okay, these are the rules, these are the procedures, they're standard, this is what everybody does. Now, it's they have to be done right, and you have to have, oh, I'm going to sound so management and so corporate here. You got to have buy-in from the employees. But yeah, I mean, they got to go along with it for everything to run smoothly. And the larger the operation, usually the more rules you need. Oh, hey, Shecky, welcome to the show. So, my actionable advice. Oh man, I'm getting all corporate here today. But yeah, so if you don't have standard operating procedures where you work, Mr. Middle Manager, it's your job to make them up. And so either and whether you have them or not, you kind of should have them, and they don't have to be that complicated. It doesn't have to be. It can be as complicated or as simple as you want. It's just like if you've ever, I knew a guy, he used to be a quality manager. And back when ISO 9000 was coming into manufacturing, he was in charge of implementing the ISO 9000 system at a machine shop. And so he went for all this training. And so just like with that ISO 9000 safety systems, and there's other ones there. What do they call it? Sigma 6, Six Sigma, something ISO, blah, 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 blah. It's basically, just what do they always say? It's say what you do what you say, and prove it. And but you can make them as simple and or as complicated as you want for your rules. And one of the cool things is, like, we were sitting there having some beers, and he's like, yeah, as long as you meet the qualifications, like you can have really bad quality and still get you could still get approved for this quality system. And I thought, well, how could you do that? Well, as long as if you say that you're going to give we were thinking about opening up like a restaurant or a bar or something like that, and we were going to call it the ISO. And so we'd put it in, it would be ISO 9000 approved. So you'd have it where in the rules, okay, the rule is to give really crappy customer service. Okay, so that's what you say, what you're going to do. And then you do what you're going to say. So, okay, now we're going to have our waitresses call the our bartenders and waitresses. They'll just like insult everybody, and we give really bad food. And then it's like, okay, and then we're going to give bad service and food. So here's your bad service and food, and we're going to prove that it's actually bad service and food, and we'll still be certified as an ISO 9000 restaurant. So, hey, Nanya, welcome to the show. So that was, of course, we never did it because it was just like fun to think about. So, I mean, when it comes to standard operating procedures, as long as there's something there, that's a start. And so, all you have to do, it could be one piece of paper, and here is your one piece of paper. I have it on a whiteboard. So here we go. You'll title it Standard Operating Procedures for XYZ or Z if you're American corporation. So, or whatever the name of the company is, and whatever your department is, ABC department. Section 1 will be something that you decide on. Section 2, etc., etc., etc. One piece of paper, there's your standard operating procedures. If the employees are unsure of how should we do it, take a look at the piece of paper. Oh, under section 2, we do it this way. Oh, okay, cool. And then there's no reinventing the wheel going on or anything like that. So, yeah. So, and the thing is, if your company or airline or whatever still has standard operating procedures, it doesn't hurt to review them every once in a while. Oh, but yeah. So we'll talk about reviewing it if you already have some sort of thing like that. And usually those types of procedures, like you get hired at the company, you sign something that goes in your file and you never look at it again. How good is that? So I don't know, but what you could do is just review it every once in a while. And whether it's a review or you're making up brand new ones, this is how it's done. So you get the whole gang, whether it's the team or all the employees or whatever. And so you got a whiteboard, hopefully a little bit bigger than this one, and just brainstorm. Okay, how do we do stuff? What little categories of our business do we do? Okay, we might have manufacturing part of the company. You might have customer service or sales part of the company. You might have a safety, some sort of safety committee or something. So you can just break it down and hopefully make it, have the employees there, give them pizza, and just kind of brainstorming, put everything good, bad, ugly up on a board, take a picture of it with your phone, and then kind of go over it and put it into a form like this, run it by the employees, see what they think. So, and then that way, and the employees will show you, they'll tell you everything they're pissed off about, except for the old guys. They'll just they'll just sit in the back and go, I'm waiting to retire. I don't care. I've seen this before 20 years ago. Hopefully this time you're the one that's going to improve things as the middle manager in the exciting world of middle management. So there's that. And, so I had a few little notes here. Yeah, you want to be flexible on that stuff. Oh, and I'll tell you a little story about how I had to be flexible. Because what happened was at the, hey, Wrench, welcome to the show too. And so it was a while back. And at the airport, there's kind of two main runways there. Or if you're a pilot, it would be 4 runways, but one this way, one that way. But two kind of a V-shaped runways there. And one of them was getting resurfaced. So that changed the way that we had to taxi around and maneuver around on the airport. And we had to do our, I don't want to get too piloty here, but we do what they call as a run up. So we kind of check out the engine, rev it up, make sure everything's working good, electrical, oil pressure's there, all that stuff. You check it all out, and then you're okay to go flying. So we used to usually always do that right before, off to the side a little bit before we got on the runway and took off. But we couldn't do that because it would have congested the taxiing around the airport too much. So they had us do it somewhere else. And that developed a whole new habit so that when the new runway got resurfaced and we could go back to normal, nobody went back to normal. So they were doing some kind of hodgepodge of not the standard way that we're normally doing it. So I had to, there's a checklist that you go down, and like I said, you guys don't have to do it. all the instructors and all the students and everyone was like, well, we like doing it this way now. Okay, but now the checklist or the SOP, the standard operating procedure, didn't reflect what everyone, the culture shift or whatever happened, the change that happened. It didn't reflect that anymore. Oh, and hey, DH Pilot One, welcome to the show. So I thought, okay, as a flexible middle manager, looks like I'll have to do the changing instead of bossing them around. They're bossing me around now. But it really didn't matter from a little change on a checklist. In kept the safety at the same level, and it really wasn't. It's one of those things. What do they say? 56 one, half dozen the other. It really didn't make any difference, but everyone was doing it, so you might as well standardize what they're actually doing already. So that's what I did. And you can do that at your business as a wonderful middle manager that you are. And there you go. There's your middle management tip for the day and on Middle Management Monday. So develop some standard operating procedures, put them on at least one piece of paper. It's all it takes. And you can put it on more. You can make it as complicated or you can make it as simple as you want. Kind of break it up into sections that are logical. You have that, and the employees will kind of give all their ideas for your standard operating procedures. And if you do have standard operating procedures, when was the last time that you actually took a look at them and it's like, are we actually doing that way? Do we have to change something? Because 20 years ago, Joe over there started doing it a better way, but we still have it written down as like the bad way of doing it. So you might want to update that. So yeah, that's kind of about it for Middle Management Monday. I don't know. We'll see if this takes off. I might end up getting a bunch of middle managers at noon on lunch, just going like, yeah, I'm gonna come in the comment and flame this guy or whatever. But that's okay. I'll take the views. So yeah, and I'll just kind of go over some questions here and yak, and then see what's going on. Okay, what do we got here? We have all right. Okay, I wanted to see. Yeah, so DH Pilot One was asking, does ISO still exist or even as prevalent as it once was? I think it's gone through some changes and stuff. I'm not really up in the manufacturing ISO thing, but I know there was like it started off as ISO 9000, then went to ISO 9001. I think there's ISO 10,000. There's all these other safety systems, but they're all basically. I'm pretty sure it still exists. It depends on what. Like around here in Windsor, everybody was in the late 1990s. Everyone was getting certified for ISO 9000 because like it was required to be at first it was like a tier 1 supplier directly to the car plants here. And then to get to be the secondary, like the tier 2. So you're making a part for these guys to make the part to put it on the to sell it to Chrysler or General Motors at the time. And so yeah, so everyone was getting certified for that type of stuff. From what I've been through ISO training 3 times now at different companies, and it's all kind of based on the same thing, whether it's called ISO or not. It's basically kind of based on the Dr. Deming's quality system that he implemented in Japan with like the Toyota kind of quality system there, and lean manufacturing. It's all kind of all in the same type of thing there, but it's getting procedures in order, whatever name you give it, it's still around in one form or another. So does it exist? I don't know. That's a Google search away, man. But pretty sure it does. It's just a matter of maybe it's not required here and there as much. They might want the new kind. I don't know. How's that for a definite maybe? Okay. All right. So Wrench is going to give us one of his many flying stories. Very good. I like getting those. Okay. My instructor sometimes did the run up on the roll. Okay. While taxiing, he flew multi-prop airliners. I guess that's the way they did it. That is disastrous. I've seen people do that though. I think that might be the one guy I saw. He started doing some funny stuff while we were taxiing, and it was like close to some hangars. And like he wasn't even looking outside, and he was just like, "Oh, I'll do this." And he had a checklist on his iPad, and he's going through this and looking inside the cabinet, inside the cockpit, and there's like hangars around and like taxiway lights, and he's like not even looking. And I'm like, dude, you gotta look outside when you're taxiing. Don't be messing around with things inside the cockpit. And he was like, "Whoa, that's the way my instructor did it." And I was like, "Well, I don't know, man. That seems now the only thing I can think of is that this guy's instructor was a former military guy. And I think in the military they might do some kind of thing like if they're scrambling airplanes really quick, there's probably some kind of memory items. They jump in the plane, the engine's running, they strap in and off they go and check, check, check. They might do that because time is of the essence because they're scrambling or something like that. But yeah, I would definitely not do that if you're taxiing there, Wrench. If the instructor is doing that, he's on board. He's the pilot in command. So if he cracks up the plane, it's not your fault. But it's not a great habit to get into. And yeah, that is definitely non-standard at any type of rental place or flight school or anything like that. You want to be paying attention to the checklist and doing what you got to do. Now, you might be another thing that you might be able to do is if it's a two crew environment, there might be one of the crew is taxiing, looking out, doing all that stuff, and then the pilot not flying would be completing some checklists maybe on the roll, but you would never do that, both of that together. So I disagree with that. And it would be really interesting to see him defend how that 30 seconds that he would save by doing that would be worth it. I don't know. But everyone's got their own ways, their own styles and stuff like that. And if the guy's really old, he'll probably never change. So, well, we did it back when I was flying with the Wright brothers. Why should I change? Okay, old pilot. Okay. Oh, we got an engineering update here that no one cares about. 9,000 or others now in my business. Yeah. So in the engineering business. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess it would depend on your industry. Who cares about it? Where I don't know. I could do a Google search on that. Maybe I'll do a Google search on that. ISO 9000 Wikipedia. I'm kind of curious now to see if that if they are even doing that. ISO 9000 certification is the ISO 9000 family is a set of 5 quality management systems standards by the International Organization for Standardization, ISO. That's what that stands for. Okay, evolution of 9000. Oh, there's a 2015 version. Okay, so it looks like ISO 9001 is still around. It's been around for 25 years. Okay, so it is still around. According to Wikipedia, we all know how reliable that is. So, anyways, there we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah. 99.4% of companies are not 9001 ISO 9001. Yeah, I could see that. I wonder if that's still. I would imagine that's still a requirement for the big three auto workers or the big three. Actually, wait a minute. Yeah, everyone's still in business. I keep track of. I keep expecting one of the big three to go out of business, but they went out of business in Windsor, but not totally for General Motors, anyways. Okay. Yep. So there we go. Lots of Google searching if you're interested in that stuff. Anyways, so yeah, so that's about it for today. Thanks for the comments and stuff, so I can stretch this out to make it a little bit more of a show. And yeah, I don't know, Middle Management Mondays. Check it out. Go over your SOPs. That's all it has to look like. Oh, I also checked very quickly because I do my very quick research before coming on here. There are standard operating procedure templates that you can get. I just Google it up. Standard operating procedures template, SOP templates, and there's all kinds of examples of how you can lay it out for an actual document and get the employee buy-in and everything, and be safe and be efficient, and everyone stays in business. No one goes bankrupt. But of course, this is all dependent on the owner of the company not being cheap. And if it's not, the owner of the company doesn't back you up, don't even bother. Don't waste your time. It all comes from is a little bit of investment to get into, taking people away from their job to plan. Some companies think it's worth it. Some people don't. If the owner wants to put that money in their pocket, don't even bother. Just show up, do your job, go home. And if he wants to run it into the ground, it's his prerogative. So here we go. Yeah, that's about it. So, okay, today is Monday. So I will be back on Wednesday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern, and we'll just kind of shut her down. So thank you for watching. Bye.